Hello and welcome to a walkthrough of my white box level, based in the Uncharted games. I will be taking you through the level and explaining my thought process behind certain things. The level is called Under Attack, and we'll see Nate and Sully just after they have battled their way through a small village in Eastern Europe. This level takes place in and around an old church with a supposed hidden treasure lurking beneath. So, to start, the player is introduced to a locked door here, and can see the only way around is to go up. I want to start the player off with a simple Uncharted style bit of climbing to get the hang of things. I wanted to build some tension in these parts, especially with falling bits of tinder and brick, to really show how much damage the areas come under, while also seeing what I could do with blueprint. The level is actually the second part of a larger level. In the first section, Nate and Sully travel through an old village to get to this church. Once at the top, the player's goal is straightforward, which should just be this simple rope. But with the floor breaking, I want to subvert expectation and drive up the intensity of the level straight away. After the crash, the player is met with the other side of the door from before. From here the player can open the door where Sully walks in and the pair move on together into the grave. Now in the actual church grounds, the player can explore for ammo and pickups before heading inside. The only way forward is through this broken wall, so it gives the player time to take a look around and get comfortable with the area. Inside, the player is greeted by some of the local militia, who have torn apart the church. Before this encounter, I wanted to draw the player's eyes over to this open top window, which should work as a goal point. From here, the player battles it out with the enemies in a mini combat encounter before moving on. Now in a safe position, the player can climb up the old church, heading for that window goal. As you will have seen previous, I wanted to mess around with some Uncharted style cinematic cameras in some of these areas, to give a better sense of the space and for that action movie like feel. Once across, the player breaks through the window here before falling through the porch roof and into the grounds. This gives us our first look at the next area, and we can see the goal in the distance. Walking past the steps will trigger another combat encounter, but this time forces break through the walls and flood the area, giving Nate and Sully something to deal with in the current moment. I wanted to try and create a roughly 5-minute long combat encounter in this area, which has the two fighting towards the small chapel looking structure across the grounds. Once the area is clear, the player can enter the small building to take a look inside, but it seems too empty. Pulling out the notebook will give the player clues for different puzzles in the level and hints towards locked areas. Here we see a number of skulls and a skull in the book with a red cross. This is what we're looking for to unlock the next section. And with a quick interaction, the secret entrance is unlocked for the player. Moving through the tight corridors will eventually bring the pair into an old dark crypt. A quick spark of the torch lights up the room. We can see another locked door, but this time symbols seem to be above, with one of them missing. Pulling out the trusty notebook will once again help the player here, and show what the three symbols are in full, as one of them has been broken off above the door. I want to make it obvious that one of the symbols was already covered with this casket, and that the player needs to do something similar to one of the other symbols in the room. My main idea behind this section was a series of pressure pads that the player had to either stand on top of or push objects over in order to open the main door. Moving deep into the cave system, I wanted to experiment with leading the player via lighting, especially since this was my first experience with it in Unreal Engine 4. A quick jump over this deep cavern and a further walk along brings the player to the opposite end of the mysterious waterfall. Walking through reveals a large area filled with enemies that are currently excavating the site in order to find the hidden amulet. It's at this point the player is drawn towards two individual water wheels in the area, which come into play later on. Since the player is at an advantage, they can choose some light stealth for this combat encounter, or an all guns blazing approach. With all the enemies taken care of, it's now time to solve this area. From the start I wanted the water wheels to be a point of focus, as both of them are static in the play space. The wheels need to be moving in order for the final locked door to open. It's down to Nate to solve this. The wheels can be done in any order, but I'll go for the left hand side one first. Climbing across the two structures will bring the player to the first stuck wheel, and with a quick pull on the jam bit of wood, the wheel should start spinning again. This will unlock one side of the gate, and the player can now focus on getting the other wheel moving. I wanted the framing of this section to really show the player the work has been going on in the cave, and with the use of explosives I also wanted to hint towards what might need to be done here to get the water running again. The detonation of the explosives tear apart the wall, and the water comes rushing through. This in turn rises the water level in the area, and this has a knock-on effect. With the water now running over the edge and the wheel turning, the second gate is unlocked. With both sides unlocked, the player can now move into this area, where a story cutscene will play. This has been my Under Attack Uncharted concept map, and I thank you for watching.